Hello, guys, welcome back. Today's episode is a bit different. So far on this show, we've spoken to players, former players, broadcasters, executives, people who live the game from the inside. But the reality is, the way fans experience football is changing. And there's a new voice shaping that experience every single day: the soccer content creators. With the World Cup coming up, this role is only getting bigger. So today, we're going inside that world to understand what's actually happening behind the scenes, what type of soccer content is working right now on social media, what strategies content creators are using to grow, what gap content creators are filling in soccer ecosystem, why brands are starting to lean into content creators, and where all of this is going in the next few years. And to break it down, we've got two guys right in the middle of it: Eli Lesser and the soccer guy. Please welcome to For the Football.
Great intro, man. I mean, I feel honored to be the first, me and El Soccer Guy to be the first content creators on the podcast. So, it's a big honor, and we're excited to get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, absolutely. No, appreciate you guys. I think it's cool to have you and hear your voices, because it definitely is shaping, right, the ecosystem of soccer, and you guys are a big part of it. So thank you for your time. What type of soccer content is working right now?
I'd say from my perspective, it's, if something big is happening, it's the quicker you get whatever your type of content you do, the quicker you get it out. For me, I think is the best it's going to perform. If you're watching the Champions League match yesterday, like that crazy Bayern PSG, if you have something ready to go during the match or right after it, that to me is what's going to perform at the highest level, because I think content moves fast, news travels fast, and I think, the quicker you're on to something, usually the more traction it will get.
Yeah, I completely agree with them. Usually for me, I try to give myself like a 30-minute window. So let's say the game you was talking Bayern PSG. I try to do a video between like maybe 30 minutes before or 30 minutes after the game is over, because content does move quick. People want to see, reactions, memes, videos of what happened. So for me, you got to do it right away, or maybe like even like during the halftime. But I think people are just so like they have so many things to do that they might not see it. So I guess it just depends. Everyone, the audience is always different.
So you guys have to be pretty much 24/7 ready to
All the
create some
time.
content.
Yes.
How do you balance that?
I guess for me, I have like 10 pages of Google Docs, so I know what I'm going to do one day eventually. But I also get inspired, like maybe by Eli or other creators, to see what they're doing and how I can do it, but in a different way. Because I don't want to like copy exactly. I want to put in my style, my tone, my personality.
Yeah, I already treat my page like a news page. So for me, it's, being on top of the news. I never try to break the news myself. It's more about like being the second opinion. I want everyone to see the news and then come to me to hear my opinion about it, basically. And like you said, like with originality, I think in general content, 90% of content we copy off someone else, and then it's that 10% that we make our own that makes us unique as a creator, because it's so hard to be an original creator with so much different content out there. But yeah, I mean, like I said, news travels fast, and it's important that you stay on top of it as quick as you can.
Right. It's important to also choose like what kind of news are you gonna deliver, because there's so many news around right on the soccer ecosystem, and also like picking the right ones is important.
I'm very specific towards, mainly MLS and US soccer. So it's easier for me to choose what to talk about, because what's the biggest thing. But even then, it's sometimes, it's hard to make good MLS content or MLS content that's going to perform well, because it's not as popular as other leagues and stuff. So for me, it's like, what do the fans want to hear right now? And, a lot of it tends to be off the field stuff rather than on the field. A lot of like fan supporter drama and stuff like that. That seems to be kind of, for me, what performs the best, and kind of, what people want to hear from me and my insights on, I guess.
Now that you say that, what's the craziest fan drama that you already explain?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest one right now is the Vancouver Whitecaps, being on the verge of being sold or relocated. And, there's a lot of drama surrounding that. There's a lot of fan support across the league to help the Whitecaps, but the fans don't really have control in the situation, which sucks. But that's like the hottest topic right now. But in general, like, I hate to say it, but like anything I do LAFC versus Galaxy is going to perform well. If I talk about the supporters, if I talk about, trash talking between them, if I talk about clubs that LAFC own in Switzerland, like, that's going to perform well for me because, that's the easiest comment drama I could get. Or also, like, honestly, for me, one MLS derby that's really picking up steam is the New York one. Anytime I post anything about either New York club, you get a lot of crap talking in the comments now, which I think is great. It shows the growth of that, and I think it's genuine hate, and that's what we want in MLS. We want that genuine, distaste towards other clubs, because that's kind of what's gonna to lead that passion for MLS, which we know a lot about.
Yeah, I hate when I see LAFC as a topic for Eli. I'm just like, oh, here we go again. I was like, oh, what is it this time? I gotta take a break and be like,
For
breathe.
context here, we have the biggest LA Galaxy fan and the biggest LAFC
You
fan.
know it.
But we could still be friends. That's
Oh
the
yeah,
thing.
yeah, it's
We're
funny.
rivals, not enemies, and I think that's an important thing to say. Maybe enemies in the bedroom. No, I'm kidding. No, like, yeah, cut that. It's a thing where it's like for 90 minutes, we may hate each other, but after that, we all want the game to grow at the end of the day, and we're all here trying to be a part of the growth of the game here. And whether you're a Galaxy fan or not a Galaxy fan, you're still valid in wanting to support the growth of the sport here.
What are the content that it used to work before and now is not working anymore?
I don't know exactly, but I have trouble on TikTok. I don't know what it is because my content journey started on TikTok. I wasn't on Instagram before, but then it started going down, and then I switched to Instagram and it started going up. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the algorithm, but most of my stuff are just like skits, humor stuff, which it always does good on Instagram, but never on TikTok. I don't know if you have the same thing.
Yeah.
Same issue.
I mean, I came from Instagram and then went to TikTok late,
Yeah.
but like, I would say TikTok things severely underperform lately.
Yeah.
I'm actually starting to see success on YouTube Shorts, which I think is
me too.
interesting. Like, that's starting to get pushed a little more, which is nice. And I don't have a crazy following on YouTube, but like, it's nice to have that. I think it's great that like you could post the same video on many platforms and see what performs the best. I'd say for me, just like longer content isn't performing well. Which I don't really make anymore because of that. But, when I started making videos, especially on Instagram, this is before Reels started, and it was something called IGTV. And like, I would make like 3 to 5 minute videos instead of the less than a minute videos. And like those, once Reels came out, those died like crazy. Like I would not get anything on those. So I had to pivot. But, I know some people wish I made longer videos, and it's like, I don't want to sound lazy with it. But for me, it's not worth the time and investment anymore, I would say.
Right, but for example, in YouTube, that's the way you can monetize the most, right? Longer form content. So taking that into consideration, when you create content, do you go more, okay, how can I get the more viewership, the more traction, or sometimes it's more about yourself and this is what I want to post regardless of the engagement?
I think it's a bit of both. For me, I look at it at what's the best story right now. And generally, the best story is what's going to perform the best, but also what do I think is the most important thing as like a news guy for my followers to hear about right now. Like I mentioned, like the Whitecaps thing is very important to me, and I think it's important to all the fans. But I look at it through like, what do MLS fans need to know right now?
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, I mean, the LAFC Swiss thing, that was just like, I knew that was just going to perform well. But other than that, like, I try to find like the biggest story, or like, I was terribly wrong about this club. I have to go talk about why I was wrong about them and stuff like that.
Yeah, for me, it's also both. But I am trying to do longer form content for YouTube because I've never really done it. And I want to see how I do, whether I'm good or I'm bad, or maybe I should invest in it more. Like, I want to do like vlogs for like people that have never been to an LAFC game. Or maybe you can do one for like a Galaxy game, just like small little things, because a lot of people like maybe from the east side or from out of the country have seen LAFC, like, oh, I wonder how it is to be at an LAFC game. I want to show them how it is, what they'll find, what to know, kind of like parking, food, just to help out people that will maybe not get the chance or are preparing to visit LAFC one day in the future.
And going back to the a little bit of your story, if you had to give an advice to somebody that's starting and I want to be a soccer content creator, what would you tell them?
Start now. That's what I would do. Just start now. Be yourself. Don't show me or show us someone you're not. I try to be like, even like in person, try to show who I am online, because I think I'm kind of funny, right? Am I funny?
You're funny, you're funny.
But just start right now. Don't be afraid. Shoot your shot. Whatever. I mean, if your first video fails, which I'm pretty sure it will, it's fine. You learn and you go. And I've seen a lot of people. I get a lot of DMs from people, asking me like, "Oh, how can I do it? How can I start?" And this is what I would do. And I have this girl that she's from Vancouver, which is funny. And she always sends me videos. Do you think this is good? What should I do? So I give her advice, because like, I'm not gonna charge you, because I've been in your place. No one ever helped me out. So I want to help and give back to other people that want to do soccer content like us.
What do you do for her?
She just sends me like her videos, like, "Oh, what do you think about this?" I'm like, "Oh, well, I would change the text, shorten the clip, have your caption say this, tag the team, blah blah blah, anything that I would do, so she can get maybe good numbers or get exposure on what she does and where she went, kind of thing."
You have to start. It's only a dream until you start. And so many people will always tell you, "Oh, I bet I can make better content than you, or I could do this." But like, if you're not actually going to do it, then you'll never know how far it could take you. I would also say, as I kind of mentioned earlier with like copycats, it's more like I always tell people, find a style you like, find a creator you like, try to do your version of that. And it's not necessarily copying, but it's taking inspiration, and you find, what you look at what makes them successful, and then you try to add what makes you unique to that.
Ooh, I like that.
In that style. Like I mentioned, like 90% of content is a copycat, but it's that 10% that differentiates everyone else. And and then the biggest thing is deliver it consistently. You could post one video, then take a month off, or another video, but like if you're not if you're not posting consistent content, you're never going to really find who you are as a creator. That's the biggest thing. And especially at the start, do not care about viewership. Do not do things that you think will bait people into views. It's more just a slow buildup. And I think that's very important, because there are a lot of creators out there right now who have these massive blow ups. For me, I've been someone who's been a slow, consistent rise for a long time. And I think that's, been a big benefit to my career for sure. But it's really about not getting discouraged quickly, and continuing to post so that you find your voice.
We're talking about a lot of consistency here, and I'm curious to see how long it took you guys to start making money since you started.
Oh, damn, that's a good. All right, guys. I'll start. I just started making money last year, and it's funny because I used to work. I had a corporate job. So around 9 to 5, I would work, and then after 5, I would post my videos. And I think it was cool being invited to like an event like for Adidas. I'm like, oh wow, But it's hard, as one of the things as a creator, for everyone's watching, it's hard to tell people or agencies how much you charge. That's the hardest thing. I've gotten that a lot. Like, oh well, how much you get paid? I got paid this much. Like, oh wow, I charged them way less. But I think I started making money last year around the summer. I started full-time content last year. For the first 6 months, I didn't make anything. So I was just using all my money, all my savings, until I got a really good brand deal with Modelo, and I was like, wow, damn, this much money for this many videos is crazy. So I think in general, it took me maybe 3 years, because I didn't take content seriously until.
I'm just saying because you guys definitely make it, right?
Yeah.
It, and for somebody that's starting,
Yeah.
just to understanding what's all the work that it's behind, and it's not like
No,
that.
it's a lot of work. And then I saw a video. I think Megan Reyes.
Mm.
She was talking about the net 30 and net 60 pay, where you got to wait a month or 2 months to get paid, which I think it's not the best thing, but it's one of the struggles as a content creator, because you'll do the work, but you're gonna have to wait a long time to get paid. So it's I want to say content's not for everyone, but if you're willing to put in the work, you'll be successful.
Yeah, and I would also, to any new content creator, not go into it thinking about money.
Oh yeah.
It's more thinking about the passion. I know that's how you started, about the passion. That's how a lot of people start. But there's also a lot of creators I'm meeting that like they're all about, getting the World Cup brand deal. That's like their sole goal. And it's like, this is a long game thing for me. I know this is a long game thing for you. And it should be, you want to make a life out of this, not just capitalize on one thing very quickly. But for me, so I got lucky in my situation where I got to start early. I started very early in my life. So this has been my only ever job. But I started in high school just posting MLS graphics, and I wasn't a video creator at first. But I got my first like mini sponsorship like 3 years into it as well, but I wasn't making real money. But then my first, I guess when I really started to make money was kind of in like 2021, 22 is when like brand deals really started to come in for me. I had been making videos at that point for I guess 2 years, but I'd been making content for 7 at that point. I didn't even know I was going to make a career out of this back then. And even like when I graduated college, there was no guarantee, even though I had brand deals coming in, there was no guarantee that I was going to be able to make a life out of this. But I kind of bet on myself in a way. I was very lucky to be in a situation where I could live with my parents for a couple years after college. And then as I continued to kind of elevate myself, that's when more deals came in. And now, I can say I do this full time. For me, I wasn't able to call this a full-time job until I moved out of my parents' house. Even though I was making semi-decent money while living with my parents, for me it was like, you can't call it a career until like you're financially independent.
Question for you, like,
Yeah.
what do your parents say about like doing this? Because my mom is like, like, do they really pay you? Like, how? Like, well, yeah, it's I guess well, for me, I don't know, it's for Mexican parents, they're like, that's not a typical job, so it's like,
Right. When you tell them, I want to be a soccer content creator,
Yeah.
what was the thought?
Yeah, I mean, my mom is just always like, ride or die support. Like whatever I set my mind to, she's like, she's all about it. My dad is a little bit tougher of a person. He's a very, I guess, traditionalist in like work and all that stuff, and that makes sense. So I mean, I was raised to always have a plan, to always like be more just to impress my dad, but more like I always had to like tell him what my next steps were before I even knew what they were. But I always had to like come up with the next steps and like tell him to like ease his anxieties about it. But I think, as I started to get bigger and more brands started to come in, he gets it now. It took him a while to, but he definitely understands it. And, he sees the confidence I have in it, but also just the rise in it. And like I said, even now that I am full-time, I still have to tell him what my 5-year plan is and all that stuff. So like it's honestly a blessing. Like it might sound stressful, but I think it's also like a blessing in a way that he makes me do that to him, because then it gets me really thinking about, how I am going to get to the next step, rather than like, I'd love to enjoy the moment more, but I've never been able to live in the moment. I'm always I'm always trying to be 5 steps ahead. But that's kind of how that worked with my parents and I. But my mom is just like, always just like, if she could wear a t-shirt with my face on it at whatever I do, if she could pull up to this podcast and just have a t-shirt with my face being like, "Go Eli," she would have done that this morning. But
She definitely subscribe after this.
Oh, yeah.
This podcast. So do you think in terms of revenue, right now most of the revenue would come from brand deals? Is it fair to say? Do you see other ways that you guys can capitalize, maybe now or maybe in the future?
I mean, maybe if we get big enough, we could have like other businesses that we could use our like name and likeness. I tried to make merch, and that was more of a passion thing than like a trying to make money off it. I'm wearing the hat right now. But like little things like that could be ways to capitalize on you as a creator. But right now, no, it really is brand deals. That's the only way I see us, making money for the time being.
Potentially like platforms as well, right? When you hit certain
Yes.
numbers, they pay you.
Of course. But I will say, like, for me, being a content creator hasn't been my end goal, and it never has been my end goal. But for me, it's always been to use to get to that next, what I want to do next.
Which is?
I'd love to be a broadcaster. That was always my dream. For me, I would love to be a studio analyst or studio host. Like if you watch MLS 360 or the wrap-up show, like my dream has always been to be the guy hosting that. So that's why I've built my platform. It's to try to become that guy.
Manifesting right now.
I don't thank you. Yeah, that's always been my end goal.
We're gonna use this
Yeah.
clip in 2 years or whatever it is.
10 years from now, hey,
Yeah.
there's Eli 10 years
But
ago.
yeah, that's what I went to school for, and it's also just that's been my lifelong dream. It's why I make content in the first place. So that's still the goal. So hopefully one day I could be a salaried employee and not a brand deal
but I love
employee.
it because you are using another avenue to get to being a broadcaster, right? Most of the guys, they probably just go straight to it, but you find your own way and your own path.
Yeah, and I noticed that when I was in, school for journalism, there was a lot of my friends, they became daily news reporters in the middle of Nebraska or stuff like that after college. And I realized like that wasn't the path I wanted to go. I wanted to come back to LA after school. And, because I was building an MLS audience, and that was always the end goal. It's risky to like close yourself into one thing. But I felt, and I still feel very confident that like I'll be able to make it to where I want doing what I'm doing.
I guess for me, I've thought about it too. Because like, do I want to be a content creator in my life? Maybe, but my goal, my background's in marketing. That's what I got my degree. So my goals are like working for like a professional team and either first division, either in Europe, here, or second division. But I do miss like I miss the marketing work behind the scenes or the social media. Because I've been doing social media and marketing for like almost since college. So I want to work like in a pro team and then start somewhere a little bit lower, like in a lower division team, and grow that. The
Wrexham
yeah,
effect.
basically the Wrexham, or just a team that may not have the budget, and sometimes not having a low budget makes it more fun to be creative. So start all the way to the top and work my way to the bottom again to grow that brand, that team all the way up. From what I know, from what I've learned, pretty much.
I mean, you are experiencing yourself.
Yeah, no, yeah. And also too, I want to help other creators. I feel like this creator thing is still like recently new for everybody, even for us. So I'm pretty sure in the future there's gonna be more creators, but I want to help like maybe like a specific amount of people to like grow their channels, teach them what I know, what I see. I guess like my own agency in a way. That's for now, that's what I have in mind.
We have something in common here. We all love soccer.
Yeah.
Back then, years ago, maybe in US wasn't that popular. Why you guys got into soccer and also wanted to create content and potentially see it as a living?
It's funny because I've been living in California my whole life, and I love Liga MX. But lately, for like the last few years, I kind of hate it. Just because everything that's been going on with like the promotion relegation, which I love, and then they took it out, and slowly I started getting back into MLS. So for me, I don't know if you know, I almost became a Galaxy fan.
We almost had you.
But I even bought a jersey, a Giovanni Dos Santos number 10 jersey. I bought it, but I never.
Well, I see why you didn't become a Galaxy fan based on how he played with us. No,
I never wore it. I never went to a game. Then LAFC came, and then that's kind of like when I started getting into more MLS because of LAFC. But little by little too is like, well, I want to do content, so I did, and I don't know. It's just I feel like MLS has grown so much over the years. If you remember this, like the Superliga, Liga MX had so much potential, and like they were like the top one, and then MLS started growing, and now they're kind of bounced. People always see it as at the retirement league, which I don't see it. But I love how MLS has done each team or the whole league itself, the way to promote it. I prefer to watch an MLS game over Liga MX now, and I hate it. I'll watch America because they're my team, but it's not the same. I think it's more, I don't know. I feel more passionate and I feel more excited to watch an MLS game. Yeah,
I love to hear that.
Yeah,
personally, for me, actually didn't start out a soccer fan at all. I know, right? I was a baseball kid. I played baseball. That was my sport. I wanted to go. I thought I was going Division I in baseball.
Who's your team?
Dodgers. I mean,
you look like an Angels fan.
Well,
Just
just because I'm a Clippers fan. No, I'm kidding. No, but what happened is actually, and this is, a lot of people when they get into the sport, they support the Barcelonas, they support Real Madrid, they support Man United. Well, not anymore, but like, they support they support the big clubs. But for me, my first exposure to the sport was the LA Galaxy. When David Beckham came to LA, my grandpa wanted to go see him play. So he took me, and that's kind of what started it for me. That I was 7.
The beauty of David Beckham. That's what.
Yeah,
that was
I
the.
don't know. But I was 7 at the time. So usually a lot of kids, they play AOSO when they're 4, 5, 6. I was 7 at that age, and that's when I started. But I wasn't hooked on it immediately. But throughout the early 2010s, obviously the Galaxy had a lot of success then. But yeah, which was great. But that during that era, I started to get more into it, and I was actually at a broadcasting camp, like as in my early teens, and I realized no one else there was talking about soccer, and I'm a guy who like always wants to do the thing that no one else is doing, and so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be the MLS guy at this camp, and that's how I started my page. It started as like a page for that camp. Basically, 2014 when the Galaxy won MLS Cup, that's what really inspired me to start making content, and I started for the 2015 season. Then I just became obsessed with the league and obsessed with the sport as a whole. But for me, it really started with MLS, and I think when I tell you that my first exposure to the sport was through MLS, I think that explains a lot as to why I'm so positive about MLS, why I'm so focused on MLS, because a lot of people from the outside won't get it when I'm like so like MLS guy. But for me, that like I come from more of like I'm an American sports fan. I root for my LA teams in every sport, rather than just like, oh, I'm a football fan. But like for me, like I can't imagine supporting a club outside across the world more than I could support my local team. And I think that's what the sport is meant to be for anyone around the world. I know I mean, you have your connections for why you're a Club America fan, and you can't imagine supporting another club because of those connections, right?
Never,
Exactly.
can't. Loyalty.
And that's kind of what the sport is meant to be. And I love watching European soccer. I watch all the Champions League matches and all of that. But for me, I have a hard time picking a team to root for because it's not my local team. It's not, it's hard for me to like a team across the world.
Right. And since then, you probably saw the growth of this league, right? The year before of 2014, the Galaxy won. I won with the Sporting Kansas City. I was the first Spanish ever to win it. I was on my 19s, 20s, yeah. And from there to now, fast forwarding, it's just a different league. We were talking about like maybe before the perception of the league was that people would come here to retire, especially all these huge players. And now it's quite the opposite. People come here because they see as a league that they are able to sell, and there've been some good transfers to Europe, and potentially I think it will become the league, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how exciting is for the three of us that came here early and saw this potential of the league, and for you guys to commentate and create content around it, me on the field and now off the field. But where do you guys see the league in 5-10 years?
Yeah, I feel like for me, it's definitely going to surpass Liga MX, which is sad to say. But I feel MLS is a league like maybe kind of like almost similar to South America, very competitive. Definitely one of the leagues that will attract more people to come. And I think it's also a good way to start your career and make the jump to Europe, even if it's not like one of the top 5 leagues in the world. I think it's still a good start. From what I've seen is that, like Liga MX, it makes it harder for like Mexican players to go to Europe because of the price tag. But over here in MLS, I feel like it's easier to transfer or to make that jump to anywhere in Europe, or maybe even South America. But definitely MLS is going to be, I want to say, I don't even know if it's the top 10 leagues, but I feel like it will be, or maybe even top, I don't want to say top 5, but top 10 for sure.
That's my bet, top 5.
Top 5?
Soccer is already the most popular sport in America. I think there are enough soccer fans in America to make it the most popular sport. It's just about making MLS the most popular league.
That's
the struggle here. But I think MLS eventually, I'm hoping, could be the 6th best league. I think if MLS could catch up to the Brazilian league and the Argentine league and maybe, win down there and stuff like that, I think it already has it has more eyes on it like globally in Europe, to the point where like if we could just be competitive with Brazil and Argentina, that will just boost the popularity of MLS to a higher than the Brazilian league, even if the Brazilian league is better. Just because I think, at this point more people are getting into, MLS than, let's say, the Brazilian league. So that's what I'm hoping for, is if we could get to a level of the top South American leagues, but have the marketing of America, that would be a great spot for the league. and hopefully for the sport. But man, a lot also hinges on the popularity of the national team as well, which I think in America we are struggling with.
Well, and I think now it's a huge opportunity and a lot of responsibility for the U.S. Team performing on the World Cup. How do you think that will correlate to the future of MLS soccer in United States, that performance?
Well, I'm scared that this generation of USMNT fans don't know what's at stake here. Rather than just one World Cup, I'm scared that they do not realize like they could actually change the sport in this country forever. Right now, because with the current state of the U.S. men's national team, I'm not heading into this World Cup very high on them. There seems to be a lot of turmoil. There's no grit in this team, and I really think that it could take a spectacular performance from one certain player that will actually get like the casual American to fall in love with the team and then the sport. And I'm very worried about this World Cup because I want it to have the big boom that we all want it to have, and then have that trickle down to MLS and stuff. But a lot of it does hinge on just like, can we be memorable to America?
Honestly, I think the U.S. national team's gonna like flop in the World Cup, which is I think is gonna be a good thing, which sucks to say, but I think the federation, everybody in the federation and the team's gonna realize we have to like do a whole cleanse of players, the coach, staff, and I feel like that's gonna help out to see what the U.S. national team needs to look for on the players, on the goals for the future and for MLS, which is sad, but I mean, I think that's what I predict. I think that's what's gonna happen is the flop, but it's gonna be a good flop to change the route on how successful the U.S. national
So
team
you
wants to
rather
be.
sacrifice now for the future?
Oh yeah, because all eyes are on the U.S. right now because they're one of the hosts, and I don't think they're gonna make it out of the group stage. I think maybe like third in their group, but I think that will help like the directors of the federation realize like we need to change things.
Yeah, and I do agree with like things need to change, but I'm also on the camp like you're looking from the sporting side. I'm looking at it from like just the casual American side, and like how are we going to get more eyes on the sport? Like Americans need to be the best at everything, and they're going to want to see us be the best at the World Cup, or at least good. Like no one's expecting us to win the World Cup or anything, but it's like I do feel like the US absolutely needs to perform well or have like some sort of shock. And this generation of players, we've not had an upset win like at all throughout this generation. So that's what scares me. But I do agree, like the changes from the bottom up need to change. I do think there can be an immediate impact as well based on the US performance. And, there'll be no impact if we're just underwhelming. But just like give us one crazy victory. Let us upset France or something. Like I don't know. Just like Pulisic scores a free kick that's immortalized forever. Like we need a moment like that and a victory like that could. I think one moment like that could actually change soccer in this country for how little kids they want to go start playing soccer rather than American football, or just like more drunk dudes like want to just pull up to matches and have fun and be like raw America.
And I feel what you said about like the responsibility and maybe the awareness of like what's this moment about. In terms of players, now people are talking about the '94 World Cup with all the US players, and there's a lot of it's evergreen in a way. If you do good now at your own soil, you're gonna be remembered forever, right? Imagine that they end up like on the latest stages, that's they're gonna be heroes for forever, and I think that I hope they understand that as a player, because you gotta give everything.
Definitely. I mean, speaking of '94, Kobe Jones just got a statue at the Galaxy Stadium. Those players get immortalized, and and I hate to say it, but like I also think if certain players perform well, and maybe the next generation's going to turn around and we're going to clear the squad, like a lot of the guys should come to MLS. I know that's a hot take, but what bigger thing for the sport would it be to have like Pulisic dominate at the World Cup, then come to MLS right after and get all eyes on the league? I know a lot of people hate that idea, but that could be good for growing the popularity here.
Right, and also like think about it I'm thinking more as a player right now. If you are in one of the top leagues, which you are because you're playing with your national team, right? And you come here, all of a sudden you're seeing the facilities, right? You're seeing the stadiums, you are playing in those stadiums, you are seeing the lifestyle of the people here. You are, based in Kansas City, you're based in New York, you're based in LA, and all of a sudden it's like, fuck, I didn't know that this was that nice. So imagine that, then on the soccer side, they do a good job. It's a huge already like beta test for all those guys, and they say, okay, this, it makes sense for me now instead of staying in Europe just to move and play in MLS.
Yeah, I mean, we want the league to get to the point where we don't have to sell our best players to Europe. We could be a good enough league to have them here. We're not there yet, but it might take one big player to come back during these years of their career to start that change. I mean, we've seen it in the past. After 2014, we had the Dempseys, the Bradleys come to MLS, Jermaine Jones, and I think it'd be nice to see that happen again, even if it might be seen as a negative move for their careers. I think those guys have the opportunity also to just become immortalized for certain clubs in America as well, and kind of create that popularity. I also just think like MLS, their goal, not even US player wise, like get some like a cult. If every World Cup produces like cult heroes, I think MLS clubs need to sign all those guys. Like guys that aren't like maybe like top 5 league quality, but they have like a goal in the World Cup. Maybe they're from a smaller nation like Curacao or something. If they score at the World Cup and like everyone falls in love with them, MLS teams have to be signing them immediately and be like, hey, we got this guy from the World Cup. Like, come pull up. I don't know. I think those are little ways that MLS could capitalize on the World Cup as a whole.
And for you guys, I'm curious, what's gonna be your role during the World Cup?
I don't know.
What gap are you gonna feel that nobody else is doing in traditional media?
I guess for me, I'll be in Mexico City without tickets, but this will be my first World Cup, like actually experiencing it. So for me, my goal is to just meet, interview fans from all over the world. Something I think I've seen done, but I want to do it in a different way where obviously some humor, some also like stories that aren't being told regarding like pricing or, what did people sacrifice besides the money to come here, I want to know what that is because I want to buy a ticket, but I mean, I have the money, but I don't want to take out or give up 4 or 5K for one game, unless it's like maybe the final. But that's what I have planned right now. But I'm also going to hopefully Guadalajara and Monterrey. I love Mexico, so we should go to Mexico.
I would love to, man. I haven't been. I don't have tickets yet either, so I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to approach it. I think leading up to the World Cup, I want my role to be kind of like a teacher to new fans. Even though usually the stories I say are more for like niche MLS fans, I think I want to broaden myself and be like, hey, are you an American trying to get into the sport for the World Cup? Here are 5 things you need to know about the U.S. men's national team or something like that. I think that's the perspective. Maybe you should do that for Mexico.
That would be cool, actually. Yeah.
Just to get new people into it, and hopefully gain new followers from that want to learn about the sport and the way I cover it after the World Cup. But in terms of actually at the World Cup, I'm still figuring out what I want to do. Definitely man on the street style might be the way to go for anyone. Yeah. Because one thing I've noticed, like brand deals are coming for the World Cup for some people, but not everyone. But it's also like it's hard to get people in the building, and like I'm not in the building yet. You're not in the building yet.
No, we're outside the doors.
We're hoping to get into the building. I'm very lucky that the U.S. has 2 matches in L.A. So hopefully a brand's like, hey, we don't have to fly this dude. We don't have to put him in a hotel. He just needs a ticket. Call me, guys.
How would your content change if you are inside of the building?
You see, that's also a good question. Because part of me wants to be selfish and not make content when I'm inside because I just want to, because like I mentioned, constantly in my life, but also even as a content creator, you don't get to live in the moment. Sometimes that's something you sacrifice.
Yeah.
Because when I go to matches, like when I was in Germany a couple weeks ago, I was filming the entire time and you don't get to feel that. Like I did a vlog, actually a Galaxy vlog when we played Miami, and I didn't get to feel the impact of Messi scoring on me. Like I never got to, because I was so locked in on filming that like I didn't get to really feel anything when big moments happen. So part of me wants to be selfish and like get into the building, but like just take it in, post very little, film very little. Because, what it'll be so much better of a story in the future. But I understand that like as a creator, you sign up to do things.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the content will be. I guess if a brand is telling me I have to do a certain thing, I'm just gonna do it. But other than that, I couldn't tell you, man. It's interesting. The World Cup is coming up so fast, and I think I speak for every creator. Like no creator has like a real plan right now because we're all figuring out: are we gonna be there? Are we even gonna be there? Are we just gonna be outside the stadium? Like I don't know. And I also feel like a lot of people outside of just the creators aren't prepared for the World Cup or don't realize that it's coming in less than 50 days now. So you never really know. But I personally haven't figured out what I'm doing yet.
I'm just gonna whatever comes up. I mean, I have so many ideas that I'm trying to see like what's worth my time. And if I do get to the stadium, same like him, I don't know what I want to do because I actually want to. It's gonna be my first World Cup, so I want to enjoy it as much as I can. But obviously, I had to put in some work. So maybe like a quick 15-minute interview of interviewing fans, and then maybe edit, or if not, just enjoy the game. But that's one of the things as a creator, whoever wants to be a creator, is it's not the same going to a game anymore. You have to like do the work because there's times where I'm like, damn, I want to enjoy the game, but I also have to record because it's my job. So those are one of the sacrifices about as a creator going to a game.
Yeah, I mean, when I go make match vlogs, I have my camera ready for any moment that could be a goal, and then sometimes you film amazing goals, but also it's like I said, like when you're so locked in on filming, you kind of you lose the fun of it as well, which is like I said, it's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make because I've gone to do so many cool things, go to so many cool matches I wouldn't have been able to, but it's also something that you have to know that you're getting into that, like that's what you're doing.
Right. Well, for me, when I was playing professionally, it was kind of the same thing, right? You starting with the fun of it, of playing, but all of a sudden it becomes your job and becomes a lot of responsibilities, and you approach it like literally like a job, right? You are focused. You're not like playing with your buddies and enjoying and doing some tricky stuff. It's just those are the sacrifices, right? Are there any other ones that you guys feel like it could be at the same level as those?
I don't know, but I will say I don't want it to come off that,
vacations.
Oh yeah, vacations. I mean, like for me, going to a match that's not in LA is like all I could ask for from a vacation. Like if I were to go on a vacation, I'd probably try to go to a soccer match wherever I'm going anyways. And I probably would try to make content out of it just cause. But no, I don't want any of this to come off as like I'm not grateful for it, having to sacrifice, I guess, fandom for content because we're so blessed to be able to do that, and to often get paid to do that. I just, I want to be transparent about what that entails sometimes.
What's the craziest thing you've done to get a good piece of content or something that you thought that would be good for content?
Ooh, I mean, this video went crazy, but I went to a Mexico Copa America match, and I did a prank on Mexico fans where I had in a bag a jersey, but it was a U.S. jersey, and I said whoever catches it gets to keep it, and I threw it up in the air, and then they ripped it open, and then they saw the USA jersey, and then they called me the P word, like the entire group of people went like, I'm not gonna say the word.
The famous chant.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I was like, I deserved it, but that was probably one of the craziest things I've done. And I don't usually make content like that. Everyone knows I'm a talking head usually. But that was a fun video, and it got crazy views, which was nice. But that's probably the craziest thing I've done for a video for sure.
I guess for me is a question that I like asking. It was Mexico Colombia in Dallas. We lost 4-0, by the way. But it was asking like couples or just just mostly couples, like, if, or like asking the guys, like, let's say you're at the World Cup final, your team's going to penalties, but your girl's in labor at the hospital. Are you staying at the stadium or are you going to the hospital? And most of the guys obviously say, I'm staying at the stadium. Yeah. And so, and when there's a couple, the girls are always like, well, like, I mean, I would stay at the stadium. It's a final. When's Mexico going to be at another final?
It's one of those. Would you cheat to your wife or to your team, right?
Yeah. So that's what I always like asking because I just like the reactions, and it's mostly funny from the women, but I think they understand who they're with and why they would stay. I know I would stay at the stadium, no doubt.
Fair.
Oh yeah,
fair.
my wife's having the baby at the stadium. If that's the case.
They
That's a
got
better story. That's a much better
Yeah,
story.
That's a
Actually, it
great
is.
story. Oh, by the way, here. Do you think that the soccer content creators are underrated or overrated?
like in general or just
Just in general, do you guys think that in a way you guys are valued as they should, or less or more?
I think we're starting to become valued as we should. And I think it didn't start that way, but I think people are realizing how important we are in shaping fandom, especially in this country where fandom is relatively new. I would not say we're underrated or overrated. I think opportunities are coming now, but also, people are gaining followings for a reason, whether you personally like what someone's doing or not. They're clearly bringing value in some sort of way. And I think brands are starting to see that and capitalize on that.
I agree. I can't say under or over because I feel like maybe we're in the middle. We're not. We haven't been like decided yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like we have a lot of influence on even for people that are not soccer fans. Some of my friends that are not soccer fans, they've seen what I've been doing, and I'm just like, oh wow, like LAFC fans look, LAFC games look cool, or just like, oh wow, you're in Mexico and in Monterrey, like that's so cool. So I feel like they've seen how much soccer there is out there that they didn't know. They just had an idea. Like, oh, yeah, I've heard about. People always know, like, oh yeah, is the Galaxy? Is like, no, LAFC, and I hate it, but it's because LAFC is still brand new. But I feel like I'm opening a new like view for people that aren't soccer fans. But the people that are soccer fans, they're seeing how much we're doing, how dedicated we are, and how passionate we are. That something I don't want to say I hate. It's just people. I don't know if it happens to you. People get like nervous coming up to me, or scared, and
I
I'm
always
like,
find that so funny.
I'm like, no, like I always tell people like when they see me, like and they approach me, like, thank you for coming up to me, because I don't know why people are scared of me. I don't think I'm not at 1 million yet. I don't have that ego yet. Right now, it's a good time to come.
By the way, like I hate when people treat me like I'm famous because I'm not. Like
You
to
are.
me,
He
no,
is
no, no.
famous.
But
Is
to
Eli
me,
Lesser?
No. But to me, I'm just like I don't feel anything. I don't feel like I'm anything. I just I do it because I like it, and if people like it, that's great. Like for me, I'll always say if yes to a photo or whatever. But to me, like I just don't feel like I'm anything. Not in like a negative way to myself, but it's like I think that's the power of creators as well, and why we are so valuable is because we do kind of represent the average, like just everyone. We're supposed to be, we come from being fans
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And I think that's why creators have become so popular. That's why they move the ecosystem of content rather than, even though I want to become one of the guys in suits on the studio and stuff, like people know us more like on a human level and feel us at a human level. And that's why creators are so valuable.
Right. So you don't see that the creators are going anywhere. I mean, the growth will be there, the path will be there, and can coexist with the traditional media.
Yeah, and nowadays we're blending new media and traditional media. If you look at other sports, basketball right now, they're having a huge boom of new media personalities breaking into the traditional media, and that's like the path I want to take. So seeing that is very, very nice. There's one guy who, his name's Kenny Beecham. He started as a 2K YouTuber, but he always had this big. He always knew about the game and always talked very, very well about basketball. And now he's doing stuff with NBC and on Sirius XM radio, and he breaking into traditional media. And because he's built such a following, he's bringing numbers to those broadcasts that maybe the broadcasts have been, missing for a little while now. So, I think as the creator ecosystem continues to develop, I think the line between new media and traditional media is going to kind of break and blend into one thing.
To finish, what would be the dream piece of content that you would like to do?
Dream piece?
Dream piece of content. Interviewing Messi.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Yeah, that is the dream, actually. I always wanted to kiss Messi on the cheek. I don't know, just to see what Antonella feels like. But maybe an interview with I feel like interview with Messi would it would be like, now I happy. I'm okay. I've done because I love Messi. And I feel like interviewing Messi in a way where like obviously both of us feel comfortable, but something that's also never been done, maybe or ever been asked. But also Messi, Ronaldinho will also be cool. I don't know, doing somewhere with my team, America, because they're my first team that I loved growing up. So doing something either in El Estadio Azteca or in their facilities. I think one of those choices I would be grateful.
I would love to say working with the Galaxy, but they do not want to work with me. No, my
Same.
my big dream.
Why not?
I don't know. I mean, listen, man. I don't know. They just don't love me.
Shots fired.
They don't appreciate me. But that's okay. That's all good. I don't want to make this a drama thing.
Switch teams.
No, I can't. I'm in too deep. Listen, man. I'm an LA Clippers fan, lifelong Clippers
It's
fan.
even worse.
Do you know how? No, but do you know how hard that is to be an LA
Yeah. Oh
Clippers
no.
fan?
Yeah. I know. I've seen it.
But I've been that since birth. I've lived through the whole Kobe era, and I never switched up, so I can never switch on the Galaxy.
Okay.
Like that's just never gonna happen. But that's not aside the point. One thing I've been working on for I guess a couple of years now that I've been really trying to get launched, and I've been needing like a media company and production to help me with because I want to make it as high quality as possible. But my goal for right now, which would also be my dream, is to host an MLS highlight show, but for kids.
Oh wow, that's cool.
And like be a factor into getting the youth into MLS and stuff like that. A lot of what I did in college was like highlight show type of stuff. And I have the experience of doing soccer stuff in that, and obviously with everything I do now. So that's my big dream and that could be my way to kind of go from just being a content creator into being like a traditional broadcaster as well. But yeah, I want to do like a cool highlight show. I always dreamed of it. Like, did you ever watch iCarly growing up? Have you heard of iCarly? Okay, never mind.
I know.
iCarly, they had like a web show where they did
Oh, I
a
know
bunch
what you're
of
talking about.
like
Yeah,
wacky
yeah.
stuff or like weird segments where they'd start randomly dancing or whatever. But like, I want to like take that energy and put it into like a traditional, sports center type of show, or like if you watch MLS Wrap Up, very similar to that, but like very much geared towards a young audience, to help explain them very basic things, but things that they need to know, but also just like have very funny reactions to goal highlights and stuff. But that's like the dream right now, but I think that's also just my dream in general. It's just about getting the right backing behind and the rights to use the highlights and all that stuff. It's a whole thing. But since the World Cup's been coming around, that's been put to the side because everyone's focusing on the World Cup. But I think after that is when I'm going to try to push for that type of show again.
Lovely. Before finish, rapid fire. Okay, I'm starting with you, and then you're finishing.
Yeah, I'm nervous.
Would you rather lose all your followers to interview your favorite player, or keep your followers and never interview him?
You know what? I would actually keep my followers. I know this is a crazy take, but my favorite player ever is Robbie Keane. But I don't know if I need to interview him.
Would you rather be respected by a pro soccer player or by the fan?
By the fan.
Would you rather be famous for a fail or not being famous at all?
I think I already am famous for a fail. So yeah.
Would you rather have been a pro soccer player or be a top soccer content creator?
For me, top soccer content creator.
Awesome. Soccer guy.
That was a good questions. Yeah. Same questions?
No, different ones.
Oh, okay. I was excited. All right, let's go.
Would you endorse your most hated team if they invited you to a final?
Ooh.
I don't know if LA Galaxy is your most
No,
hated
Cruz
team.
Azul's my
Cruz
most hated
Azul.
team. No, never. I could never do it. No, I'm sorry.
Would you rather always be first or always be right?
Ooh, that's a good question. Always be first or always be right?
Yeah.
I'd rather just be first. I feel like I'm always there.
And then
If you're in first or last,
Always
it's
right.
alright. Would you rather do a commercial with Messi or Cristiano?
Ooh, Messi. Oh, I love Ronaldo. I don't know hating Ronaldo, but Messi for sure.
Last one. Would you rather lose all your followers tomorrow or never grow again?
Lose all my followers tomorrow and never grow again. I'd
Stay where you are.
rather lose my followers. I could, start again. I know I can do it with the
Yeah.
help of Eli Lesser TV.
That's what I'm saying.
There you go. Well, that's all,
Those are
guys.
good.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you, Juan.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
It's fun.